Well, hello everybody and welcome to the Thaco Gamers. My name is Matt, and today I think it's about time that we finally talk about this bad boy right here. This guy. This is the Oculus Rift S. So I hold in my hand here the Oculus Rift S, and this is the second 1.5, I don't know what they want to call it, the next Oculus Rift PC-based VR headset that they have. First things first, we're going to talk about what's different between this and the original Oculus Rift. The first thing that's most important is you don't have to put those stupid sensors anywhere. This doesn't require sensors. It uses the cameras on the headset here, and it uses that to track with your controllers. So because of that, you get full 360 room scale without having to worry to put a sensor behind you and to have two on your desk or mounted to the wall or whatever else. So it opens up a lot of freedom for you for where you can set this up or how you can set this up, so it doesn't take up a bunch of desk space or wall space or having to run long USB 3.0 cables to go to the back. Another bonus to this is you only have the one USB 3.0 and one DisplayPort is all that's required to be able to plug this into your computer, which is super cool because a lot of people were running out of USB ports when trying to connect their original Oculus Rift to the computer, and that was actually one of the bonuses of the Vive is the lighthouses for the Vive. You didn't need that. So that's a change that they've made with this one. Another thing that they've made, the change that they've made, is this has the built-in speakers. The original Oculus Rift did have built-in speakers, but they went over your ear. These ones do not go over your ear. They're built right in, and it's more ambient. And they've adjusted the head strap on here. It's just a little twist. You adjust the top here, and then you can just crank this right down on your head. One of the other things is with this now, there's a button back here, and you can adjust this a little bit further away from your face, which gives you the ability to put glasses on and wear this, which is not something that you had with the original Oculus Rift. Now, a lot of people said, especially in my video, commented and said, oh, I can wear my glasses when I use the Rift. Other people said, no, I definitely cannot. So they have made that change. Good on you, Oculus. And so that's basically overall what's different about this. So now we're going to get into what I do and do not like about Oculus Rift S. Okay, so we're going to start with the things that I like. And a couple of these things we already touched on a little bit, but we'll get more into this. I really, really like that you don't have to have sensors mounted everywhere. That was a big pain to me, and I love the freedom of this. And it gives you really good room scale. The touch controllers and everything else work really well, respond really well. And this responds better than the Quest. I actually had some complaints about the room scale and especially the hands when you bring them close to your face with the Quest. And the Rift S doesn't seem to have that problem. So that's good there. That's a definite plus to this as opposed to the original Oculus Rift. Another thing that I want to talk about is this is amazingly, this is much more comfortable than the original Oculus Rift was. So check this out. You have this simple little knob. Not only is it more comfortable, but it's just easier to put on. But you have this little knob here, and you put the headset on, and once you get this originally adjusted, all you have to do is just crank that knob down. Just crank that knob down there, and when you do that, that's all you have to do. No adjusting straps and on the top and on the sides and everything else. You just turn that little knob here. And I've actually, everything is turned on in here since I've done this. So I'm going to take this off. This thing is extremely comfortable. It doesn't let the light bleed in like the Oculus Rift and even the Quest to a certain extent does, which I am very pleased with that. I don't like the light bleed that comes in from there. Some people it doesn't bother, but for me it was really annoying. So this doesn't do that. That's extremely cool. And it's super comfortable. It fits really well. This is, of all of the headsets, out of every VR headset I have ever worn, to include the Quest, the Vive, everything else, this is by far the most comfortable, and I can wear this forever. As far as the weight, I don't know if this weighs more or weighs less than the original Oculus, but the weight seems to be distributed much better and the best out of all of the VR headsets that I've worn. Extremely comfortable, and I love the ease of just turning this to get you to strap it onto your head and everything else. I love it. The strap is cool. It's a definite upgrade from the original Rift. Next thing I want to talk about is the lenses or the display, basically everything inside through your eyes when you're looking through this. This has a little bit more field of view, it seems like, than the original Rift had, which is nice sometimes, especially when you first put on the Rift. You felt like you had tunnel vision a little bit, even though once you got immersed, you kind of don't notice it as much. But this gives you a little bit more of that field of view, which I really appreciate and helps with immersion. Another thing is it has the OLED, so the blacks are deeper blacks. You don't have the backlight that you had with the Oculus Rift, especially when it was like almost pitch black. It was a very bright version of black, and this doesn't do this. A lot deeper blacks, so that is a definite plus with the Rift S as well. This also has a higher resolution than the Rift has. So the bonus to that, obviously everybody knows about, okay, a better resolution so the games can look better and more crisp and everything else. I don't notice a huge difference with the games, but it might just be because the games, almost every game we're playing right now is designed for the Rift. So it doesn't seem that much more sharp, maybe a little bit, but where you really notice it is in text. I play Elite Dangerous a lot, so reading my menus, reading my quests, and everything else, the auction house type stuff and everything, it is so much easier to read, and I don't have to constantly adjust and kind of strain my eyes and everything else to be able to see what the text is saying in there. So that is awesome, and this might actually have a similar resolution to what the Quest has, but it's great, and it definitely looks better than the original Rift did, for sure. Another thing that's really nice about this, too, is you don't seem to get all the God rays that we got from a lot of these first-gen headsets, from the Rift and the Vive. You got a lot of God rays with with the whites and everything else in there, and they showed them differently. They were kind of circles on the Vive, and on this one, it was more washed out, I would like to say, on the original Oculus Rift. This one here, you don't notice it nearly as much. It's a lot better than both the Rift and the Vive were as far as the God rays go. So everything inside vision-wise, this is superior to, much more superior to the original Oculus Rift. And the last thing that I like and I think is better about this, and I did kind of touch on this earlier, is the fact you only have to have 2 cords to plug it in. You just plug in your display port, plug in your USB 3.0, and that's it. And it's only 1 cord coming off of your headset here. And then at the very end, it splits into 2, and then those are your USB 3.0 and your display port. So I really like that. As far as the design of this, I think this looks a little bit sleeker. It's definitely, like I said, more comfortable, and overall, this is a pretty sweet device, especially considering the fact that right now it's like $399. So you can't complain, because it's like $200 cheaper than the original Rift was when it came out, which was not nearly as good as this. That's kind of how technology works, I guess. But now we're going to move on to the things that I do not like about this. The first thing is, I did mention that this adjusts for glasses, but it's really cheap. It feels cheap, and that's one of the reasons I was kind of waiting on here, because I was wondering if this was going to break or something. It hasn't yet, and I have put a lot of hours into it, so that's good. But there's a button right here. If you can see that and focus in there, there's this button here. This isn't going to focus. There we go. So there's a button here, and you push on that, and then you can adjust the headset separate from the lenses here. So that's okay, but you don't have any sense of how adjusted this is. And when you don't wear glasses, you kind of want to get this as close to your face as possible, because that gives you more field of view. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to demonstrate this or not, but I'm going to try. So when I put this on here and you push this, first of all, this is one thing I don't like about it. Okay, so I'm going to push this all the way on here.
Basically, what I'm trying to say here is that you can't adjust this setting efficiently while wearing the mask, because you're battling the force of the tension from your head. It's either too tight and springs out when you push the button, or you have to push the headset against your head to tighten it back up. The only effective way to make this adjustment is to do so with the headset off, which is annoying and dumb. It should have been a knob you tighten or loosen, just like the knob in the back of the headset for adjusting head size.
Another thing that I don't like about this that is really kind of bad adjustment for your pupil distance. The IPD, and I'm not going to attempt to say it, I will, interpupillary pupillary distance or something to that effect. So it's basically how far apart your pupils are from each other. And you measure them. And luckily for me, mine is pretty close, like 64.5, and this is defaulted at 64. So it's pretty good. And you can adjust it in the software inside the Oculus Home. You can go and adjust it. I don't see that making much of a difference, and I really don't. I don't know how to explain it, but you should just be able to. I like dials. I just like a simple dial on there, and with the original headsets, when you set it up, they would just show you horizontal and vertical lines, and you adjust the knob until your vertical lines look good, and then adjust this up and down to your horizontal lines look good, and then you're focused right in. You're good to go. That software doesn't seem to do that. It doesn't help. It doesn't really help to tune it in. I went all to the extremes on both sides, and I didn't see it get better or worse. So it doesn't feel like it really does anything. So I can't speak for people that are where it's a lot closer or a lot further apart. I don't really know anyone that's so far off from 64, which is probably one of the reasons that they did that. But I really wish I could fine tune that and tweak it, because I feel like my Vive is a little bit better. Like I can just tune that in a little bit better than I can with this. So that is a downside to this. I don't really like it. Another downside is that the speakers that are built into this, it's like the Quest, they're built into the headset. They're not as good as the built-in speakers in your Oculus Rift. Now, what's weird, and I've went back and forth between this and my Quest, these don't seem as good as the ones in the Quest. When I'm playing games like Beat Saber and stuff like that, in the Quest, they sound really... Nothing is going to be as good as a good set of bows or beats or whatever you have on your head. I mean, that's fine, but this is not as good as these built-in strap speakers that you even have in the Quest, to me, in my opinion. Because of that, that's a downside for me. This just doesn't sound good. I'm eventually going to get myself some speakers. Now they have a port here to plug your speakers in. You can plug your headphones in right there and put them on. But if you have over-the-ear headphones, good luck getting them around this big plastic strap here. So you're pretty much going to have to use earbuds, which I like the over-the-ear headphones personally if I'm going to wear them, but I guess earbuds will work. So the bass just isn't as deep. And like I said, even in comparison to the Quest, if this was as good as the Quest, which I don't feel that it is, I probably wouldn't consider that a downside. And I'd just be like, okay, yeah, it's not as good as headphones. You can get headphones and wear them, but it's not even as good as a Quest, and I don't understand why. Could just be my experience. It could just be that I didn't get, I don't know. This is the only one I've used. So maybe these should be exactly the same as the Quest, and I just got unlucky with my headset. But it doesn't quite sound as good. I'm a little unhappy with the sound on this with the speakers. Now, there's one final thing that I wanted to mention about this that is totally different than the original Oculus, but they do have it in the Quest, is you can see that this has the options or the possibilities of mixed reality or something with this. Because when you put this headset on, and I love that you can do this, these two cameras on the front capture the room that you're in. So you can actually go into your menu screens and stuff like that and see the room, make it show you the room, get your bearings as to where you're at and what's going on. It's especially nice for mapping out your play area and stuff like that. Oh, and another thing, the play area on this is much bigger than your play area is only limited to the length of your cord for the most part. So, but overall, this is very good. If you own the original Oculus Rift, if you can sell it to somebody at this point, because it's still kind of recent, if you can sell that to someone for a good few $100s and only have to put another $100 in or something to get this, I'd say it's worth the upgrade. And if you're looking to get into VR now, good for you if you haven't gotten anything yet, because this is way better than the Oculus Rift overall. It does have some downsides to it, but overall the pluses to this, as opposed to even the Vive or the Oculus Rift, this is much better. It's a lot better experience. The comfort is the biggest thing. The biggest thing about this that I am super thrilled with, and then the icing on the cake is just the better vision in there, being able to read the text in games, and to have the higher resolution, the better field of view. I mean, all of that is great, but for me, it's mostly the comfort because I can play this thing for so much longer. The Rift and the Vive used to hurt my head right here. I kind of elongated skull, got a bigger head, so I'd get red marks here and around here. This is just so much more comfortable, and that to me is the biggest selling point of the Rift S and why this is probably my favorite PC VR headset that I have tried out so far. So that's what I have to say about this. If you have any comments on the Oculus Rift S or have anything that you'd like to say about it, or like you guys do in some of my other videos, want to complain about some of the things that I say, feel free to go ahead and bring that up in the comment section down below. Also, feel free to like and subscribe. Thank you guys for once again coming to check out my channel. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.